the New York Yankees traded for an outfielder tonight, a corner outfielder, but it wasn't the one you're thinking of. While they're in the market for Juan Soto, while they're still in the market for Juan Soto, they made a trade with the Boston Red Sox, only the seventh trade with the Red Sox in the last 50 years for outfielder Alex Verdugo. And I don't know how to feel about the move. In one aspect, as a baseball move, I like it. I like it a lot. And then on the other aspect, the culture move, really, really hate it. Alex Verdugo, of course, has a history with supposed sexual assault allegations, where he may or may not have known about the rape of a younger girl, and didn't report it. I'm not going to get into it in this video. It's a little disappointing the Yankees keep acquiring players like this after the Domingo Germán incident, Aroldis Chapman. They can never seem to get away from this kind of stench, and that kind of irritates me. But I'm going to put that to the side for now. I'm going to try to talk about this strictly in baseball terms, what it means for the Yankees, for Verdugo, Soto, Judge, everyone involved. First of all, the Yankees had awful production from left-handed bats last year, and they have for the past several years, pretty much since the young core came up in 2017. The primary lefty bats were there in Gregorius and Bird. Greg Bird ended up fizzling out as a major league player. Didi Gregorius really was never the same after his Tommy John surgery, and since then they've been trying to replace that left-handed ability. They traded for Joey Gallo, who never panned out. They traded for Anthony Rizzo, who had a bad season last year after getting a concussion by colliding with Fernando Tatis. And so they didn't have production from left-handed bats last year. Brian Cashman came into this offseason and said, I want to acquire two left-handed outfielders, one for left field, one for center. And he might have did that. Now, Verdugo is a lefty. He is a plus bat. He is a career 105 WRC plus. OPS plus. Career 765 OPS. He's had seasons where he's received MVP votes, although COVID's shortened seasons. But nonetheless, he's a solid corner outfielder. I would say a good corner outfielder. He's shown defensive improvement year over year when it comes to advanced metrics. He's a below average center fielder, and that's what makes this move kind of curious. The Yankees were always, as I mentioned, always going to get at least two left-handed outfielders. In my head, with one of them being Soto, and that trade's obviously not done yet, and maybe won't be done, but with one of them being Soto, in kind of the machinations of what I estimated to be the Yankees offseason, I thought that this center fielder was going to be someone who was a defensive first guy, but maybe wasn't the impact bat that they were looking for, with the idea that Jason Dominguez, one of their top prospects, would be back later in the season to fill that void, lefty bat himself. Maybe that was Trent Grisham to come over in the Soto deal for them to shed a little bit more salary, the Padres, that is. Maybe that was Kevin Kiermaier, guy who's a free agent, who's AL East experienced, who's had some better offensive seasons as of late. I don't know who that was, but I didn't expect it to be Verdugo. And maybe the Yankees aren't trying to play Verdugo in center. The reports are kind of that if the Yankees trade for Soto, they're going to be expecting Judge to play a lot of center. If that's the case in Yankee Stadium with the shorter right field, I could see them playing Soto in right, Verdugo in left, who's a little bit better of a defender, and then Judge in center. But I don't love the idea of playing Aaron Judge, a guy who's 6'7", 280, a guy who you invested $360 million into just a season ago, a guy who missed most of last year due to a toe injury, a guy who has a knack for getting freak injuries, whether it's broken ribs or hit by pitches causing a broken hand, or kicking the Dodgers outfield wall and breaking a toe. He is not injury prone, but there have been instances where he has had freak injuries, and I don't love playing him in a more strenuous position when he's 32. I would rather him play more first if he wasn't going to play right than play more center. And not to say anything about his talent at all. I think he's a very good center fielder. I think he's an elite right fielder, but he's an elite bat. He's a top 3 hitter in baseball, in my opinion, and I've said that over and over again. I think it goes Yordan Alvarez 1, Aaron Judge 2, Shohei Ohtani 3. And although he is an excellent defender, I would really, really, really make an effort to try to keep him healthy for his bat. And putting him in center, I don't think prioritizes that. And sure, maybe it makes you better offensively, But am I sacrificing? How much am I sacrificing between Verdugo and Kiermaier to keep Judge at a center? I don't know. The Verdugo acquisition is an interesting one because, first of all, it's a trade with the Red Sox, and that, as I mentioned, that doesn't happen all too often. They give up some prospects in there to the Red Sox. Richard Fitz, I forget the name of the other prospect, Jadace or something like that. And then Greg Weissert, who's turned himself into a decent reliever. They're going to be valuable pieces for the Red Sox. The Red Sox also do a salary dump. And the Yankees could be treating Verdugo in one of two ways. He could be their starting opening day left fielder, which would be interesting. And from a baseball perspective, I wouldn't hate. He could also be flipped in a Juan Soto deal. And the rumors are that the Padres were trying to trade for Verdugo a couple years ago from the Red Sox. Red Sox were not willing to give him up. Maybe he could be flipped in that deal. A more cost-controlled guy. He's expected to be making $9 million this upcoming season, whereas Soto is expected to be making 33 in arbitration. So maybe that's a situation where they flip Verdugo in the deal and they still acquire a center fielder. That may be the case. However, I don't think that's likely, just in my opinion. I think it's likely that Verdugo is going to be the opening day left fielder. And you have Verdugo, Judge, Soto for the primary portion of the season before Jason Dominguez gets back, and then you see where you are. Maybe you put Dominguez in center, you move Judge to right, and Verdugo goes to the bench, right? And you move Soto to left in that case, obviously. And Verdugo goes to the bench. Maybe if Stanton doesn't produce, you put Jason Dominguez in center, Soto goes to DH, and Judge goes to right, Verdugo goes to left, right? Or stays on left. I don't know. But I think in reality, if you look at a lineup with Verdugo leading off, a left-handed bat, you could have Judge batting second, playing center field, batting right, obviously. Soto batting third, playing right field in this case. And then you put either Stanton or Torres, Stanton second base. I'm sorry, Torres second base, Stanton DH fourth or fifth. You could flip-flop them depending on how you feel. And then you could line up Rizzo in the 6 hole, which is a nice spot for him, I think, coming off of injury. And then you got a 7, 8, and 9 of Volpe, the shortstop, of DJ LeMahieu, the third baseman, and of Wells or Trevino, the catchers. I like that lineup. I think that's a good lineup, and especially if they make a splash in the rotation, right? The rumored to be in on Yamamoto, the rumored to be favorites on Yamamoto. If they acquire him and that top of that rotation looks like Cole, Yamamoto, and Rodon, I love that. Or even Yamamoto, Cole, Rodon, depending on how you look at Yamamoto and his projection in the MLB. I love that. I think that's a great offseason. And maybe you make a move around the edges, right? Maybe you add a bullpen guy, maybe you add a depth infielder or outfielder. I don't know. But if that's the case, I don't hate it. So I like it in the idea that we're adding a left-handed bat. Not a great one, but a good one. I like the fact that we're adding a true outfielder. I mean, I mentioned in a previous video, the Yankees were playing guys like Jake Bauers, who's a first baseman out in the outfield, or Oswaldo Cabrera, who's an infielder out in the outfield. Shoot, Luke Voigt's gotten reps in the outfield in recent years. I mean, like, the Yankees have played so many, Willie Calhoun, the Yankees have played so many guys in the outfield over the past 3 or 4 years that having another depth piece, whether he's a starter at the beginning of the season and a bench player later on, or just one of those guys that's a bottom of the rotation or a leadoff guy who you don't expect elite production from, he's a good MLB at bat. And that's all I can ask for. That's all I can ask for the Yankees to acquire in a package that really they didn't give up a whole lot. Richard Fitz, I think, was the 13th ranked prospect in their system. They still got plenty of assets to go out there and get Juan Soto and make a trade like that, or whatever acquisition they want to make and still compete in the Yamamoto waters. So maybe the case is they didn't want to get a guy like Kevin Kiermaier and pay up, or a guy like Jung-Hoo Lee out of Korea and pay up for a center fielder when Verdugo is probably going to be cheaper out on the market, trade some lower level prospects. Don't worry about it. And you spend your financial capital on landing Yoshinobu Yamamoto and potentially signing Juan Soto to an extension. I don't know. We'll see. Let me know what you think of the Yankees acquisition. I'll comment on the Red Sox, actually. The Red Sox cut a little bit of salary, got some pitching acquisitions that I think will help their long-term rebuild. It's clear Verdugo wasn't a Alex Cora guy. And so I liked it for them. I think it was a decent move. Got one quality prospect, one very good prospect, and a quality MLB reliever that I think will give good innings for them, especially with their bullpen situation, what it was last year. I like the move for them a lot. Well, let me know what you think in the comments below. Do you think this is a good move for both sides? Do you think Verdugo gets flipped in a Soto deal? Do you think the Yankees trade for Soto? Do you think the Yankees acquire Yoshinobu Yamamoto in free agency? Let me know what you think in the comments below. Peace out.